it again, your favorite boxing channel on YouTube. This is Boxing. As always, the subscribe button is so much appreciated. Sharing the content around really helps me or any of your favorite YouTube channels, point blank period, and dropping comments, as you guys have been doing, been pretty awesome about doing. That is as well greatly appreciated. This Saturday, we have a fantastic boxing fight. Well, fingers crossed fantastic, as we have come off of the within 1 week Nayo Inoue versus Stephen Fulton Jr. and Terrence Bud Crawford versus Errol Spence. Both turned out to be completely dominant, as my phone is just blowing up. My friend, they're doing this on purpose. All right. They were both completely dominant. This should be, a good, fun fight. But check this out for a change. I think that this fight won't be very, very competitive. I think that this will be a little more one-sided. When Oscar Valdez takes on Emmanuel Navarrete. So I think this one will be pretty one-sided. On one hand, you got Emmanuel Navarrete, who has been an absolute force of nature in the 130-pound weight class, captured titles in this weight class, and has just dispatched the guys. He's fan-friendly, very aggressive, throws wild shots, even leading with uppercuts, which we'll get into in a minute. But he has also never faced the caliber of fighter like Oscar Valdez. So now he is fighting Oscar Valdez, who is very, very defensively sound, a really good counterpuncher who can crack and has a decent chin on him as well. And I like Oscar Valdez to win this fight quite handedly, to be honest with you. So odds on this fight, surprisingly enough, I thought he'd be a bigger favorite, but Oscar Valdez is only a minus 160 favorite. So jump on that. Jump on that. Because listen to me, he does win this fight. If you look back at Navarrete fights, the leading in with the... Alright, this lizard's going crazy. The leading in with the uppercut thing, for instance, right? There's a good reason why you don't lead it with an uppercut. Because you're exposed from the hooks, a slip and straight. You're very exposed to lead your combination starting with an uppercut. Nonetheless, when you're not like in close range in the pocket, but from outside and jumping straight forward with an uppercut, it's not going to suit you very well. So that's one thing, right out the way. You don't do that. It's a mortal sin in boxing. We actually had a little short on that a while ago of why you don't do that, the different ways you can be countered doing that. And lo and behold, what did Emmanuel Navarrete do? He's always done that. He did it again, and he's had trouble in the past. Baez gave him trouble. Baez gave Emmanuel Navarrete a lot of fits before, Navarrete, I don't want to say luckily, but he's just a force of nature. So he's going to keep coming at you, and if one of those wild things lands on you, he really knows how to pour it on, and he was able to get him out of there. But when you're looking at film and looking at the pure boxing technique of it all, he had a lot of trouble dealing with Baez. And then he went into the Wilson fight as well. So the Wilson fight was I believe his last fight. He might have had one more in between, but that might have been his last fight. That Wilson fight, I want to be honest with you. On this channel, we're pretty honest with you. So afterwards, the fight turned out to be very competitive. Wilson dropped him. They say, wow, look at this. And my goodness, Emmanuel Navarrete was able to come back and stop this guy after getting dropped. But the real truth is that fight was always supposed to be a showcase fight for Navarrete, not a challenge. and the fact that he did see such a challenge with getting countered, leading him with those looping shots. From a guy, by the way, in Wilson, who didn't keep everything tight with the jab and tight with the short hooks on the inside, who was looping shots himself and was still able to drop Emmanuel Navarrete. Now he's facing Oscar Valdez, a much, much higher class opponent. Sure, Valdez, had taken that brutal, not brutal, but just a heartbreaking loss where it's like, you look like a journeyman against Shakur Stevenson. But Shakur Stevenson, if he could have stayed and made the weight, he would have just easily bagged up every single belt at 130 pounds. There is zero debate about that. I think everybody knows that. If you know anything, you know that. And now that he's up at 135 pounds, sure, it's more interesting because he can fight Devin Haney. He's set to fight maybe Vasily Lomachenko, which is absolutely a phenomenal fight. You have Tank Davis fucking around at the 135-pound weight class. It's stacked. So you can see all these great fights. But the truth is, I already see and have the feeling that nobody's going to be able to beat Shakur Stevenson. Okay? So what does Valdez losing to Shakur Stevenson every single round mean? Not much. Not much. It means that you have a guy who took a fight he never should have taken, being that everybody knew Shakur was going to move up. Just let that guy go. Yeah. Now that he's gone, Valdez is really looking at possibly long run being the top dog in this division. But zero chance that he's not a top dog in this division. And I definitely think he beats Navarrete because his defense is very sound. Everything is tight. He's a great counter puncher, and he will counter Shakur Stevenson for leading him with the crazy ass uppercuts like he does. That's fucking right. That's right, Lizard. Emmanuel Navarrete, yeah. He likes to lead in with those crazy ass uppercuts, okay? But, Valdez going to be able to find the openings, the easy openings, when you're leaping in with an uppercut from across the ring of Emmanuel Navarrete, for sure. And he's only a minus 160 favorite here. So he's going to win the fight. And I've put together a quick little good parlay for you guys. A 5-pick parlay that makes this very safe and gets you plus money on top of a Valdez pick. Valdez only at minus 160. You want Javier Martinez at minus 800. Philip Perkovich at minus 800. And Richard Torres is like a minus, 500 million to kill a guy in there. But if you go by KO, TKO, he's only a minus 1,000. Throw him on there by KO or TKO. And Emmanuel Rodriguez at minus 700. That gets you plus $155. These odds coming to you by way of DraftKings. That's where I'm getting the odds for this parlay for. If you believe in the wildness of Navarrete, which in this case against a talent like Valdez, I do not. But he is a plus 130 for the record. But I like that. I like, Emmanuel Rodriguez, Richard Torres by KO, Philip Herkovich, Javier Martinez, and Oscar Valdez for plus 155. And before we go, I would be remiss if I didn't mention to you that I am also definitely doing a bet, which somehow they have for Oscar Valdez to win by KO or TKO. Somebody had the bright idea to make that a plus 500 on that pick alone. So that, on top of the parlay I gave you, will be my two bets for boxing this weekend. I so much appreciate you guys, the new subscribers, the comments being dropped. You notice I love them if I agree with them. I try to get back to a lot of you guys, and I'm just so appreciative. And out of I'm blessed too, because out of 100% of people that are good faith with comments, whether they agree with me or not, Some people made good picks that were against mine, were respectful, and I love that. Respect that. Some people jump on board after when they didn't make picks. They don't have a show. They don't know what they're talking about. And it's easy to talk shit about somebody who's putting themselves out there beforehand, making these picks all year long, every single weekend. So to those people, straight up, go fuck your mother. But no, I really appreciate the comments that are being dropped, and for the most part, they're just really great. Good interaction, and I really love it. You guys keep it up. This is stay loyal, fight fans. And until next time, we're fucking out of here. This lizard is very smug. She's definitely sometimes looking down on you. She's looking down on me too. She thinks that we're worse than her because they've been around like since the time of the fucking dinosaurs. So she kind of shoots smug looks sometimes. Look at her.